Around the world, there are death trains where every foot of track is a challenge thrown at nature. It could be a stroll on a ladder thousands of feet in the air. The insanity of running hundreds of tons of steel through a corrosive salt lake. Or fragile viaducts dangling over an abyss. Here, mistakes offer no second chances, and the line between the trip of a lifetime and a horrific tragedy has never been thinner. Why do these routes still exist, defying brutal geology? Is it human arrogance or the extraordinary power of faith? Right now, buckle your seatbelts and get your oxygen masks ready. We're about to begin a journey through the world's most dangerous railroads, routes so perilous they shouldn't even exist. Bishwa Ijtema special trains, Bangladesh. Have you ever seen a train completely disappear under a sea of people? Welcome to Tongi, where train cars are swallowed by thousands of worshippers. On a colonial-era, 5-foot-6-inch gauge railway system, these rusty train cars are astonishingly covered by a shell made of thousands of people clinging precariously 16 feet in the air. Every year, as the festival approaches, millions of people leave the city to return home. But the train cars below have long been full. And so, the roof of the train becomes their last available seat. Under the scorching 104 degrees Fahrenheit sun, people here hang suspended from the roof and sides of the cars, a place jokingly called the business class ticket of devotion. Although the dangers of electrocution or falling onto the tracks are ever present, the flow of people is endless. Witnessing this ticket to heaven firsthand, you will both shudder in horror and be in awe of one of the most powerful faiths in the world. Tren a las Nubes, Argentina. Leaving the hustle and bustle behind, get your oxygen mask ready to conquer the Tren a las Nubes in Salta, Argentina. This isn't just a tour, it's a walk on a death ladder at an altitude of 13,845 feet. This route is the arrogant masterpiece of engineer Richard Morey from 1921. Instead of a cogwheel system, the train climbs the slope using an insane system of zigzags and spirals. The most terrifying highlight is the La Polverilla Viaduct, 735 feet long and 207 feet high, dangling over the abyss. It has absolutely no guardrails to ensure passenger safety. Many believe this route shouldn't exist because of the absurdity of operating hundreds of tons of steel in an unstable geological region. After an incident in 2014, every trip is now required to have a doctor on board to handle cases of altitude sickness. Even so, the feeling of touching the clouds at sunset and hearing the wind howl through the mountains holds an irresistible magic, urging every traveler to risk their life just once. Great Salt Lake Causeway, Utah, USA. If you're looking for a sense of awe right here in the US, head to Utah to witness the Great Salt Lake Causeway. You'll see a 20-mile scar crudely stitched across nature's mirror at an altitude of 4,200 feet. In reality, this railroad is a massive rock and clay sand dam. It splits the lake into two surreal colors, one side dark purple and the other a pale green. Built in 1902, the structure is a testament to humans' wild ambition. It's said that tens of thousands of tons of rock vanished without a trace overnight, terrifying workers with the thought of a bottomless lake seeking revenge. Why shouldn't this route exist? Because it's a geological time bomb. Placing thousands of tons of steel on a foundation of soft mud and a pool of metal-corroding salt acid is a risky decision, making subsidence a daily occurrence. Despite all the dangers, the roar of the engines in the middle of the salt sea always delivers a chilling thrill, challenging those who want to witness human stubbornness against nature. Curitiba to Morretes Railway, Brazil. Don't look down. That's the warning you take to heart when you step onto the Curitiba-Morretes Railway. At an altitude of 3,064 feet in the Serra do Mar Mountains, the train descends a steep slope down to sea level, winding over 30 fragile viaducts. The most frightening is the 197-foot-high Hotan-Ruoqiang Bridge, where the track is so narrow all you see is the abyss and fog. Born in 1880, the project was an insane ambition of 19th-century engineering. It's said that every railroad tie at Hotan-Ruoqiang is stained with the blood of thousands of workers who died from accidents and disease. This route is also a huge gamble by engineers, placing a 140-year-old steel structure on landslide-prone geology. Tropical rains frequently cause horrific landslides, like the shocking incident in 2011 that trapped people. You absolutely cannot turn back once you've embarked. Come to challenge your courage and cross this deliberately fragile passage at least once in your life. Georgetown Loop Railroad, Colorado, USA. Welcome to Colorado, home of the Georgetown Loop Railroad, a knot that defies all laws of physics. At an altitude of 8,500 feet, this line connects Georgetown and Silver Plume with a 360-degree loop that crosses over itself. The steam engines must constantly struggle to climb the 4% grade. The centerpiece is the Devil's Gate High Bridge, 98 feet tall, curving through a narrow canyon. You'll have to be careful, because this is where strong winds are always waiting to blow the train cars away. The design of a loop stacked on top of a curved viaduct is an extremely unstable structure, which is said to be the reason it shouldn't exist. The risk of derailment is always present if centrifugal force overcomes the braking system. Born in 1884 during the Silver Rush, this was an extreme effort by humans to force the terrain to submit. Although it was once dismantled for being too dangerous, the route has now been revived, becoming an invitation for those who want to stand on the line between riches and the abyss. Death Railway, Thailand. Hidden behind the peaceful beauty of the forests in Kanchanaburi, a scar that never heals still exists. This is the Death Railway, a historical testament that defies all safety limits. Stretching 258 miles, the route is stunning, with its journey clinging to sheer limestone cliffs and fragile bridges. The easily rotted wooden structures, combined with the fractured limestone foundation, make operating a train here a game of chance. The most breathtaking point is Hellfire Pass, 240 feet long and 82 feet high. Here, prisoners of war had to dig through solid rock with their bare hands in 100 degrees Fahrenheit heat. Created in 1942 under the Japanese fascists, this project claimed the lives of over 100,000 people. It was a war crime disguised as an engineering feat, built on terrain that British engineers had once declared impossible. The journey across the River Kwai will surely make you shudder at the brutality of history, while also feeling the miraculous survival strength of human beings. Landwasser Viaduct, Switzerland. If you think Switzerland is all about serenity, prepare for a shock at the Landwasser Viaduct. This 213-foot-high limestone bridge sits at an altitude of 3,280 feet, challenging every survival instinct. The design of the route goes against all sense of security, with 6 stone arches bending into a sharp curve. It's also terrifying as it plunges straight into the mouth of the Landwasser tunnel, perched high on a vertical cliff face. This marvel was created in 1901 by Alexander Akatos, who built the bridge piers amidst howling winds without scaffolding. As the train glides across, the cars jut out completely from the piers, making you feel like you're floating in mid-air. Connecting a curved bridge directly to a tunnel is also a navigational nightmare. A small braking error could send the train plummeting into the rocky riverbed below. Although it's a symbol of the luxurious Glacier Express train, the Landwasser still has the dangerous air of a reckless leap. Every trip across can make your heart stop with a mix of amazement and pure exhilaration. Mount Washington Cog Railway, New Hampshire, USA. In New Hampshire, USA, the Mount Washington Cog Railway is like a rope ladder dropped from an altitude of 6,288 feet. This is the world's first cog railway, where the train doesn't run on friction but crawls up a cliff like a mechanical monster. The The most terrifying section is Jacob's Ladder, with a record-breaking grade of 37.41%. This area frequently experiences ferocious winds with speeds up to 231 miles per hour. History recorded a devastating tragedy in 1967 at Jacob's Ladder as a warning about gravity. If just one cog slips, the car you're sitting in will become a death bullet hurtling into the abyss. Mount Washington isn't just a train ride, it's proof of human arrogance in the face of harsh nature. Perhaps what tourists seek when they board that train isn't the scenery, but the feeling of being truly alive when facing the abyss of their own fear. Dajue Cliffside Train, China. When you come to Guangxi, China, prepare for a breathtaking experience on the Dajue Cliffside Train. This is a monorail system that clings to the side of Dajue Mountain at an altitude of 1,970 to 2,625 feet. The 0.75-mile-long track will make you shudder as it's strung across a sheer abyss, with some sections just inches from the cliff edge. Sitting in the glass car, you'll feel like you're sleepwalking on top of skyscrapers. The staff here often talk about the terrifying screams that echo through the valley. It's the sound of panicked tourists suspended in mid-air. Inaugurated in the late 2010s, this project is considered the commodification of danger, as engineers had to carve into the cast cliff face to install steel supports. This is a huge structural and geological risk that defies all safety regulations. This ride doesn't serve regular transportation. It exists solely to test the limits of your nerves. Are you brave enough to take the plunge, or will you choose to watch from a distance as other daredevils conquer the sky? Iron ore train, Mauritania. Would you trade your safety for the experience of clinging to the top of a ghost train crossing the harshest desert on Earth? If the answer is yes, welcome to the iron ore train. At a record length of 1.5 miles, the train consists of 250 cars filled with iron ore dust, cutting through the Sahara Desert. This single 437-mile track connects the mining region of Zouérate to to the port of Nouadhibou. Created in 1963, the project is considered inhumane for operating in such extreme conditions. Hundreds of locals still have to jump the train, burying themselves in toxic ore dust just to survive. Why is this trip so dangerous? Because the sharp iron dust can severely damage your lungs, and the desert winds are always waiting to hurl you onto the hot sand. One slip, and the desert will swallow you without a trace. Even so, the iron ore train attracts souls who crave the raw and primal. Clinging to the top of this ghost train under the Sahara's starry sky is the purest, adventurous experience any thrill seeker should have at least once in their life. Lake Burlinskoye Salt Train, Russia. If you're looking for a surreal and perilous landscape, head to the Altai Krai region of Russia to see the salt train at Lake Burlinskoye. Located at an altitude of 377 feet, this is the only place in the world where a train runs directly through the surface of a vibrant pink lake. You'll see the sight of train cars, bleached white by salt corrosion, moving on an invisible track set about 8 feet below the lake bed. This route dates back to the 18th century and was later mechanized to mine white gold. Operating hundreds of tons of steel in highly concentrated salt water is an act of engineering suicide due to the extremely rapid metal corrosion. Clearly, the biggest danger is the silent decay of the underwater tracks. If just one section of rail breaks and collapses, the train would be swallowed forever by the salt mud. Despite the salt that eats away at your skin and the constant risk of derailment, the Lake Burlinskoye salt train is the perfect destination for those who love to conquer the world's most unique wonders. Kuranda Scenic Railway, Australia. Imagine you're on a thin strip of steel with a sheer cliff on your left, a deep gorge on your right, and a waterfall crashing directly onto your train car window. That's not a sci-fi movie scene. It's reality on the Kuranda Scenic Railway. Located in Queensland, Australia, this railway cuts through the barren gorge rainforest, where the steep terrain defies all machinery. At an altitude of 1,076 feet, the journey crosses the Stony Creek Steel Bridge, conquers 15 hand-dug tunnels, and navigates a series of breathtakingly sharp curves. Born in 1882 from dynamite and pickaxes, this was a huge gamble, as humans stubbornly placed a 140-year-old steel system in an unstable geological zone. In 2010, a landslide knocked a train carrying 250 passengers to the very edge of a deadly drop. That incident didn't stop the train wheels. It only highlighted the proud nature of the Kuranda Scenic Railway. Each trip isn't just a scenic journey, but a powerful statement of human will against the harshness of creation. Gokteik Viaduct, Myanmar. Leaving the steam-powered ladders behind, prepare to hold your breath as you come to Myanmar to witness the Gokteik Viaduct. At 2,260 feet long, this colossal steel structure, 335 feet high, spans the Nunkyo Valley. As the train crosses, the entire steel frame shakes violently under the weight of hundreds of tons, directly above a gorge that drops more than 820 feet into a cave system. The single track here is extremely narrow and has absolutely no guardrails. Just one strong gust of wind or a minor incident is enough to lead you to a tragedy with no escape. Many even argue that this structure shouldn't exist because maintaining thousands of tons of steel over 120 years old in a harshly humid climate is an incredibly risky act. Lacking modern maintenance, it's like a slow-motion suicide for the railway industry. Gokteik isn't just a bridge, it's a time trap waiting for the moment of collapse. When you board the train, you're not just buying a tourist ticket, you're buying a seat in the biggest gamble with death. Northern Explorer, New Zealand. There are journeys where the stunning beauty of the present can't hide a haunting past. The Northern Explorer route in New Zealand is one such journey. At an altitude of 2,600 feet, the Raurimu spiral appears like a giant spring. To overcome a 456-foot elevation on unstable ground, the train has to perform a matrix of tight, U-shaped spiral turns. You can even see the tail of your own train on the track level below, Completed in 1908, after 23 years of stalemate, the project was an ambition to break the isolation of the mountain gods. The Tangeway disaster in 1953, when a volcanic mudflow destroyed a bridge, killing 151 people, is a bloody warning about this deadly location. Today, as the train rolls through the sharp curves, you are not only captivated by the majestic scenery, but also find yourself sinking into a sense of sorrow. This journey is definitely not for those seeking peace, as it will leave you with a beautiful and haunting chill. Hanoi Train Street, Vietnam. Don't come to Hanoi's Train Street if you're looking for standard safety, because here, chasing the perfect photo can cost you with real-life tragedies. Nestled in the most densely populated residential area of the capital, this railway is a mesmerizing planning anomaly. Because it's located between two rows of old houses, at some points, the edge of the train is a mere 1.3 feet from people's front doors. Every time the train horn blares, a lightning-fast dance of clearing away cafes begins. All safety rules are broken, and its social media fame has led to numerous tragedies from tourists engrossed in getting their shots. The government frequently has to close the area due to the risk of derailment or fires that would be difficult to rescue. After all is said and done, Train Street continues to exist as a proud and risky crack in the heart of Hanoi. It reminds us that some kinds of beauty can only be fully appreciated when standing right on the edge of danger. Maeklong Railway Market, Thailand. If you think shopping is just a stroll, come to Samut Songkhram, Thailand, to experience the Maeklong Railway Market. Here, the goods seem to be playing with death along 1,640 feet of track. Hundreds of stalls display their wares just inches from the rails. When the train arrives, the gap between the train's body and the stalls is only 4 to 8 inches. Awnings are folded back, and goods are pulled away in an instant to let the steel monster glide past. Originating in 1905, the market is a testament to traditional stubbornness. As vendors refuse to move and accepted living with the railway. The name Talad Rom Hup, umbrella pull-down market, has become a famous tourist brand, a symphony of tamed recklessness. However, living and working on an unfenced railway is a nightmare of risk. Although the train moves slowly, collisions or awnings getting caught on the train and pulling down stalls still happen frequently. Pamban Bridge Route, India. Would you dare to step on a train where the tracks ahead are regularly wiped out by waves several feet high? The Pamban Bridge in India is exactly that kind of journey. Completed in 1914, this insane marvel is 6,775 feet long, with 143 concrete piers set just above sea level. Every train that crosses here is a tense battle of wits, with wind gusts of up to 62 miles per hour. Pamban really shouldn't exist because it challenges nature right in the heart of the Indian Ocean's cyclone belt. The 1964 tragedy is a brutal testament when a 23-foot-high wave swept an entire train to the bottom of the sea, claiming the lives of 115 people. For over 110 years, sea salt has silently eaten away at every rusty rivet, making the bridge teeter on the mouth of a sea monster. Even so, Pamban possesses an immortal soul, thanks to its brave bridge keepers. If you're captivated by the feeling of gliding through a sunset on a foundation from the last century, this is the alluring, near-death journey for you. Bernina Express, Switzerland. How can a train climb the steepest mountains in Europe using only the grip of its wheels on the track? It sounds impossible, yet the Bernina Express in Switzerland has been doing just that for over a century. At a record altitude of 7,392 feet, the bright red train is chilling as it clings precariously to a sheer cliff face. At the Ribblehead Spiral Viaduct, the train even has to rotate itself 360 degrees to make a sudden drop in altitude. Operating on a 7% grade using pure friction is a brutal gamble in a region of constant avalanches. The 1917 tragedy at Hospi Station, when an avalanche buried an entire train, is a bloody warning from the white fire of the Alps. The Though danger lurks, the feeling of being suspended on a thin thread between sharp limestone peaks is still the most luxurious and dramatic experience of a lifetime. Will you choose to stay safe at the foot of the mountain, or are you ready to board this train to continue writing your own brilliant journey? Chaka Salt Lake Railway, China. A relic from the 1950s, a monument to the ambition of conquering nature, the Chaka Salt Lake Railway in Qinghai Province, China, is a completely illogical entity. At an altitude of 10,036 feet, it's known as the steel track that runs through the heart of the mirror of the sky. The rusty, salt-bleached rails lie directly on top of soft, sinking mud. Placing iron and steel in an absolutely corrosive environment is a maintenance mistake. Not to mention operating heavy machinery on a salt base that can easily crack under low oxygen pressure is extremely dangerous. The workers of the past were always haunted by the fear of the train being permanently trapped as the salt water froze to its wheels. Just one small geological crack, and the entire train would be submerged in the mud. More than half a century has passed, and the rails are still there, lonely in the middle of the Qinghai Tibet Plateau. Standing on this train, you will see how small and fragile life is. Just like the layer of salt supporting tons of rusting steel above the dark mud. Konkan Railway, India. Imagine the weight of thousands of tons of steel pressing down on a soft, landslide-prone clay foundation, where every inch of track is an open-faced bet with death. You are gliding along the Konkan Railway, an engineering marvel built with the sweat and blood of thousands of people. This 460-mile-long route runs along the west coast and through the Western Ghats Range. It is a massive steel scar consisting of 2,000 bridges and 91 tunnels. The most breathtaking point is the Panvalnadi Viaduct, 210 feet high, equivalent to a 20-story building. Not to mention, your heart will skip a beat as you pass through the dark, 4-mile-long Karbuda Tunnel. Born in 1998, the project was the achievement of engineer E. Sridharan. However, it was also an insane geological gamble on soft clay, which claimed the lives of at least 74 workers. However, it is precisely the uncertainty of the Konkan Railway that gives it its deadly attraction. Here, the beautiful scenery is not for souls seeking certainty, but for those who want to see life sprouting from within peril. Hotan-Ruoqiang Railway, China. If you crave a journey through a land of no return, come to Xinjiang, China, to witness the Hotan-Ruoqiang Railway. Completed in 2022, this 513-mile-long line is a testament to insane persistence. Humans were determined to build a railroad encircling the ever-shifting Taklamakan Desert. The most terrifying feature is the 33-mile-long sand control viaduct system, where the train runs on 82-foot-high concrete pillars to avoid being buried by giant sand dunes. Operating modern machinery in a furnace of fine sand and corrosive salt is a costly form of technical abuse. The cost of maintaining this system is incredibly expensive. Every year, millions of dollars are spent just to protect 50 million square meters of shrubs around the railway. More than just a route, the Hotan-Ruoqiang is a place where humans have subdued the will of nature. A journey here will show you the insane power of ambition. Pouring mountains of money just to prove that harsh creation cannot bury life. Ribblehead Viaduct, Chile. Chile, the core of the planet's most powerful seismic zone, should not be the place for a towering, slender steel structure. Yet, the Ribblehead Viaduct has existed as an act of proud engineering suicide for 136 years. Completed in 1890, this bridge was once the pinnacle of world engineering. At an altitude of 1,148 feet above sea level, the lonely single track will make you sweat, as there is absolutely no protective walkway. For 136 years, Ribblehead has endured countless earthquakes and corrosive humid air. Its history is also steeped in the cold chill of the workers who were blown off the bridge by the wind during construction. Despite this, Ribblehead still possesses a charming, Eiffel-like soul. This is definitely an unmissable destination for those who want to witness the breathtaking intersection of heritage and danger. Pilatus Railway, Switzerland. How can tens of tons of steel grip and move up a nearly vertical slope without plummeting straight into the abyss? The Pilatus Railway is the proud answer of the Swiss people. With a record-breaking 48% grade, the train is shocking as it crawls from an altitude of 1,444 feet up to 6,798 feet right on a sheer cliff face. Opened in 1889, the system uses a double cogwheel system that grips tightly into the limestone, passing through narrow tunnels just inches from the rock face. Because it operates a train on a slope where humans cannot stand upright, the Pilatus Railway is believed to have no right to exist. Just one small error in the cogwheel system, and the train would turn into a death slide, hurtling straight down into Lake Lucerne. Local people still speak of the curse of the Dragon Mountain as a sacrilege against the spirit of the peak. Although it's safe, the risks of lightning strikes and rock falls are ever present due to the brutal intervention in the geology. Ribblehead Viaduct, UK. Why has one of England's most dangerous railway routes become a magnet for thrill seekers? The answer lies at the Ribblehead Viaduct, located in the Yorkshire Dales. Completed in 1874, the structure looks like a fossilized skeleton made of limestone. The bridge is 105 feet high, 1,319 feet long, and stands proudly between the three highest peaks in Yorkshire. At 984 feet above sea level, the narrow bridge deck is completely exposed to wind gusts of up to 75 miles per hour. These winds are strong enough to hurl anything into the deep ravine below. Once a symbol of Victorian arrogance, this project traded hundreds of lives for a few miles of track over the boggy Batty Moss. It's estimated that at least 100 workers died from accidents and disease. Although it was nearly demolished in the 80s due to decay, Ribblehead still stands as a challenge to time. It invites travelers to feel its painful history and its pride amidst the wild nature, where the line between a wonder and a death trap is thinner than ever. Denali Star, Alaska, USA. Imagine you are drifting through a galaxy of northern lights, on a steel gash that cuts through the white snows of Alaska. You are on the Denali Star, a precious but perilous gem of American railroads. The train crosses 356 miles of harsh interior, conquering an altitude of nearly 2,600 feet, where there are no roads. The most breathtaking point is the Hurricane Gulch Bridge. This strip of steel spans a 296-foot deep gorge and is the longest and highest bridge on the entire line. Created in 1923, the project was a brutal imposition by engineers onto the permafrost. Every year, collisions with large bears threaten to derail the train right next to the sheer cliffs. The Denali Star has the treacherous beauty of a frozen tightrope walker. Inviting brave souls who want to touch the icy heart of Alaska. This journey will surely leave you with an unforgettable impression of the battle between nature and human ambition. The railway routes you've just traveled are a testament to resilience, where magnificent beauty always goes hand in hand with lurking danger. Standing on the fragile line between wonder and the abyss, are you brave enough to step aboard one of these trains that flirt with death? Which location left the strongest impression on you? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next heart-stopping journeys. See you again.